Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to graph equations on a coordinate plane. Here I just brought up a worksheet I found online for graphing lines in slope-intercept form. Now the method I'm going to show you will work for any form and it will work for any type of equation. So what you're going to do is you're going to try and find a coordinate. Okay, and coordinates are two numbers that tell you where on the coordinate plane, where on here you're going to graph. Right? It tells you where the points exist. So in order to determine this, we understand that this first number is what's called the input. Okay, and we usually call that x, and this is called the output. And the reason why we use these names is because usually it's up to us to choose which number x is going to be, and then y is just going to be the result of when we simplify this side. We're going to choose a number and it'll simplify out and you'll get y equals another number, and so we don't have to choose y. It just is, because it's a consequence of us having chosen x. So let's choose a number here. Let's choose a number like 0. Okay, 0 is nice and easy. So right now x is going to be 0. Okay. Now what we have here is we have 1/4 times 0 minus 1. Okay, remember we chose 0. So 1/4 times 0 is just 0, and then minus 1 gives us -1. So we have y equals, and then that's -1. That all simplified down to -1. So we chose 0, and y was -1. That tells us we have a point right here. Okay, now let me just erase this. Okay, now we choose another number. So let's choose maybe y, or maybe x will be 4. We're going to choose 4 this time. Okay, so this is 4. So 1/4 times 4 is going to be 1. 1/4 times 4 is just 1. And then minus 1 is 0. So y equals 0. So we get y to be 0 there. 4, 0, that means that will be this point right here. And usually at this point, what we can do is, since we're graphing lines, lines are straight, we can just graph this straight line. We see that it's crossing this point and it's going through this point, so we can determine it's going to go something like this. So that's how you can graph anything, really. You just choose a value for your x to be, and then you let your y equal whatever the simplified version of that is. So here I have another example of an equation which we can graph, and we're going to graph it the same way. We're looking for a coordinate pair with an x and a y, and we get to choose which values for x we want. And then the y will be determined once we simplify the equation, and it'll say y equals something. So we can choose any number for x that we want. I prefer smaller numbers, or numbers that are going to give us a little bit easier numbers to work with. So let's try 0. 0 is always a good starting point because it's nice and easy to work with. So we'll choose x to be 0. So this right now is counting like 0. Now we're going to do some mental math. So we're going to use the order of operations, and we're going to start here. 0 minus 5 is -5. -5 times -4 is positive 20, and then positive 20 plus 3 is 23. So we get y equals 23. 0, 23. Now we can see here that that point is not going to fit on this graph. So we need to choose a different number. Let's try a point like 5. So maybe we want to choose 5. And the reason why I would want to choose 5 is because that's going to allow us to have this equal 0 in here. So I'm using a little bit of meta knowledge, thinking ahead, and I'm choosing a number that's going to result in a number that's easy to work with. So let's choose 5, and that's going to allow us to choose 5 in here, or to make x equal 5. 5 minus 5 equals 0. 0 times negative 4 is still 0. Plus 3 gives us 3. So we get 5 comma 3. Y equals 3. So 5 comma 3 is going to be right here. Okay, so far so good. Now we choose another point. Let's try 6. Since we chose 5, we can choose 6. Pretty close. So let's let x be 6. Use order of operations again, some mental math. 6 minus 5 is 1. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. Plus 3 is negative 1. So we get y equals negative 1. Now this point, 6, negative 1, is right here. And since we're trying to graph a straight line, 2 points is all we need. We can make a line, and it's going through these 2 points. So we can do something like this. And so that's how you would graph. That's how you would graph a line like that. I hope that you found those examples useful. I really only used some very basic examples, but the truth is that that style of graphing will work for very, very many different equations. It'll work for linear equations, it'll work for exponential equations, it'll work for quadratic equations and beyond. There's none that I can think of off the top of my head where it won't work, but maybe if you had more than one variable or something. In any case, it's a good basic understanding of how graphs work, and as you graph this way, if you graph enough in this manner, you'll start to develop some patterns. So some of you I know already know about slope. You can start to see how you can use the slope to shortcut doing this process, and you can start to put together your own ideas on how to graph more quickly. In any case, I hope this video has been helpful. Please like the video if it was helpful, and if you have any questions, comment, and you can subscribe as well. That always helps. Have a good rest of your day.